Whether gracing the hallowed halls of Broadway or the West End, or the silver screen at your local multiplex, there's a certain charm about a musical. Since their debut on film with The Jazz Singer in 1927, the musical has come in all shapes and sizes, defining generation after generation in the process. Your grandparents no doubt followed the yellow brick road, your parents were struck by greased lightning, while us millennials got our heads in the game. It doesn't matter if it was adapted from the stage, an original film, or it's simply musically adjacent. The power music has on film cannot be understated, with countless examples of scenes defined by the music behind them. The musical puts that music front and centre, and has audiences around the world sing their favourite show tunes as they wait with bated breath for the next greatest show. Today, on our Patreon exclusive episode, we're celebrating all things musical. And no, I will not be singing. Hello everyone, I am Reese, and I'm joined today by three wonderful guests to talk about musicals. I'll start off with some introductions. Firstly, welcome to Fiona, our editor-in-chief. Hello, Fee.
Hi, thanks for having me. Very excited to talk musicals.
Yeah, I think you were one of the first names in the chat when I put the call out, because you're a big musical fan, aren't you?
I am, I love them.
Good. Also joined today we have Audrey. Hello, Audrey.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, excited. I'm also a big fan of musicals, so this will be very fun.
Good. And finally, we do also have Eleanor. Hello, Eleanor.
Hello. Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. It's gonna be a good chat, I think. I think that I do enjoy musicals, obviously, that's why I'm here, but I feel like it's a genre that I kind of forget how much I enjoy until I catch one on TV or like a new one comes out and I'm just like, oh yes, this is great.
Yeah, I find that too. And I've kind of going through the choices of films I've got today, I realised just how many I've seen and how many I love from since I was a kid. So hopefully we can bring some of the favourites back today. But I thought I'd start with a quick question I'll go to you, Fee, first. What is it about musicals that you love? Why do we as a society love musicals so much?
For me personally, there is a big nostalgia factor, like some of you were mentioning about catching musicals on TV when you're a kid. That's like a huge part of my childhood, sort of growing up with musicals. But I think there is something that we all really emotionally latch onto about emotions being expressed in song. So it's why we love music, obviously, in the first place, and why everyone has like a breakup album, or, you know, everyone has certain songs that really mean a lot to them and really tell the stories of their lives. And I think with musicals, it's that combination of music, but with like the storytelling aspect and also the emotional aspect, because they're all, you know, the songs are always really timed in musicals, aren't they, to the big love moment or some big sort of huge sweeping
set piece.
Yes, yeah, it's always some grand gesture or huge emotional kind of you know, low point or high point, and I just think we as humans really react to that.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think we've all, like you said about kind of having breakup songs, we've all got music that ties us back to certain times in our lives as well.
Yeah.
Like you've got songs that remind you of a certain era in your life, and I think, just music just has a certain power that other kind of mediums don't have. Audrey, what are your thoughts on musicals? Why do you love them so much?
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, like, cinematically, they give filmmakers permission to kind of go big and just kind of experiment with, like, bright colors and costumes and, like, a lot of different stuff that you don't always get to do in other types of film. And I think also the reason why people latch on to musicals is because we all kind of have fundamental issues with communicating. Like, that's just humanity. And I think it's rare that people have the opportunity to say exactly what they mean and what they're feeling and express their emotions. And I think songs in musicals give them the opportunity to do that. And so we can identify with that. Yeah,
I mean, that's fair. I like the way, you know, you communicated that ironically. Just how that we have to sing our feelings to get our emotions clear. And that's definitely true. I think we could all use the ability to sing what we're feeling at any point, just to kind of, when you're frustrated at work, just like sing at someone to say why. That would be ideal. Eleanor, what are your thoughts on musicals?
Yeah, I really like Audrey's point there, and I think it kind of is one of those things that just kind of flashed a memory in my brain, but I remember when I was a kid, I kind of wish that musicals were real, in the sense that I wish I could like burst into song to like explain how you're
Hmm.
feeling about something was the norm, because it just seems like such an easier way to tell people something. And
Yeah,
it's sort
definitely.
of like, and I think, yeah, it's sort of that sort of like escapism, and the idea that you could kind of just let all your emotions out without being judged, because everyone else in this world of movie musicals or whatever is also singing about their feelings and what's going on. So it's sort of like the, again, I suppose it's that sort of emotional aspect to it, like being emotional,
Mm.
being kind of like in touch with your feelings and wanting to share how you feel about things and people, was seen as such the normal thing to do, because
Hmm.
people just burst into song and do it. So I think, yeah, it was kind of a bit of an escapism thing as well, like the fact that that is something that we in real life could not do without maybe being committed. So it's yeah, a bit of escapism, and sort of that, like, there are sad musicals and there's sad songs in musicals, but so often they end on a happy ending, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of joy and upbeat music and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a lot of escapism can be found in musicals.
God, we've been on it for 5 minutes, so already talking about humanity's kind of plight and communication issues and trying to solve it with music. But yeah, that was a kind of a nice intro that from you three of you. So I wanted to kind of split today's episode into two halves, I suppose, because there are, I would say, two categories for a musical, sorry, where you've got one group which are the adaptations of previous stage musicals versus original musical films that come out kind of as and when. So I thought we could do the first half today talking about our favourite stage adaptations, films like Oliver, Hairspray, Willy Wonka, Mary Poppins, not Mary Poppins, Les Mis, that kind of thing. So Fee, have you got any of your favourite stage adaptations at hand? Do you want to talk us through some of your favourites?
I think most of my favourite film musicals are stage adaptations.
Okay.
So, well, apart from Moulin Rouge, which I'm sure we'll probably get into
Hmm.
a bit later, but Chicago and Cabaret are two of my favourite musicals, the Bob Fosse musicals, and I think the film versions are amazing. Chicago is kind of a slightly sort of, people kind of laugh at the fact that it won Best Picture and see it as maybe not such a good one. But I mean, I
Hmm.
rewatched it recently, and I stand by Chicago being a really good one. The
Hmm.
only weak link is Renee Zellweger, but I think the supporting cast, so Catherine Zeta-Jones and Richard Gere, are
Hmm.
brilliant. And I think the way it stages the musical numbers, this is what I think makes a really good film adaptation, is that the musical numbers are really theatrical, but it uses
Hmm.
film techniques to enhance them. So it cuts, for example, in Chicago, it cuts between courtroom scenes, and then there's like a circus or a courtroom scene and like a stage. So it's using editing techniques to enhance the musical numbers, and I think that's
Hmm.
what makes a really good film adaptation of a musical, because the camera has to, and the cutting techniques have to kind of enhance things and actually be used in very deliberate ways. um
I, I genuinely forgot, by the way, that Zellweger was in Chicago. Because I always think about Zia Jones and Richard Gere in Chicago. I don't think about her
I
because
I
your image when you think of
Yeah.
Chicago is Zita's Black Bob. That's what I
Yeah,
think of.
yeah. I think personally think she's the weak link, and I wish she hadn't been Roxy Hart in it. I think she's miscast and isn't the
Hmm.
best. But I do stand by the film
Controversial.
as being good though. Um, West Side Story is also one of my all-time favorite musicals. I'm obviously quite nervous about the new version, but that's definitely one where the camera works brilliantly to enhance those dance numbers. It's such a good film musical.
Audrey and Eleanor, what are your thoughts on Chicago or Cabaret? I don't care which one.
I've not
Or West Side
seen
Story.
Cabaret the film, and I think the only version of Cabaret I've seen was when I was at university, and I used to be like a steward in front of house, and like one of the university productions was Cabaret, so that's
Hmm.
the version I've seen, which did seem like a lot of fun, and But yeah, Chicago, it's been a long time since I've watched it, but I did remember really enjoying it and some of the songs. And I think it was maybe one of the first sort of grown-up musicals I saw, like, or at least as more of an adult and more of a sort of critical thinker type thing. Because I think the sort of musicals I grew up with were sort of like the Disney animated classics, and then sort of Mary Poppins and Sound of Music, because they were on TV every Christmas or whatever. So I think Chicago was the first one that was sort of like obviously quite different to those, not as maybe homely.
No, definitely. I think there is definitely a conversation to be had about kind of the way we grew up with all the Disney musicals, because Disney made the musical their thing, didn't they, for many years?
Yeah.
Where everything they released was a musical.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about the Disney animated films when we were like obviously going to bring our kind of list of favorite musicals. I hadn't really considered those, to be honest, but obviously they are musicals, and we all love like a good villain song, don't we, from from the Disney films. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because I think the time I really noticed it was when me and my best friend went to see Tangled at the cinema, and she turned to me during the opening number saying, "What's going on?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "They're singing." I'm like, "It's a Disney film, they sing." And that's when she said she'd never seen a Disney film, she'd only really watched Pixar films. And it was her first encounter to a Disney musical, and she was so confused.
What on earth?
This is like a 20-year-old that had never seen any animated Disney films. So then I've been spending the next 10 years trying to educate her on the fact. And then also that's when I learned she didn't like musicals, so she was very confused and like not happy for me dragging her to see this film.
But like, not even like The Lion King or Aladdin,
no,
those
she's
classics.
not seen any of them. I got her to watch them in my like uni halls.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What's her name? Can we call her out, please? Be like, what is right?
Call her out. It's Jazz. She's still slowly working through them.
Jazz, mate, you've got to sort that out. That is outrageous. You didn't have a childhood if you didn't grow up with singing bloody, I don't know, can't just wait to be king, or Whole New World, or something like that. That's insane. God, these revelations from your life. You've got your mum's thoughts on kind of Zack Snyder. You've got your friend not seen musicals. Your life, Ella, is insane.
Who are you surrounded by?
I know.
Yeah.
Audrey, we've kind of left you to the side there. What are your thoughts on Chicago, or that kind of musical?
Yeah, I mean, I like them both. I think it's interesting that they're kind of put next to each other because they have this sort of like very clear delineation between the stage numbers and then the offstage numbers, and how it like Cabaret has the kind of delineation between reality and then, the Kit Kat Club is an escape from everything that's happening, and that's where most of the, sequences happen. And I think that's sort of similar in Chicago. So, yeah, I like them both. I only saw Cabaret a couple of years ago, and it blew my mind that Basil Exposition from Austin Powers was in Cabaret. I knew who Michael York was, obviously, but like, I grew up with him as Basil Exposition, and it was not prepared for him to be in Cabaret.
See, I've never seen Cabaret. Is he good in?
He's very good. It's like, it is my favourite film musical of all time. I can't recommend it highly enough. And it's you would be surprised, like Audrey's saying, the offstage side of Cabaret is actually quite serious. I mean, it is set during the Weimar Republic. It's the pre World War II period. It's the rise of the Nazi Party. So the themes are quite dark and quite serious. But then you have, like Audrey's saying, you have the Kit Kat Club scenes where, but the songs are very satirical, and the songs are kind of quite political. So they do bring the fact that fascism is on the rise. That is kind of brought into the musical numbers as well. But yeah, I absolutely love it. I think Liza Minnelli just is absolutely flawless in it. No one else, could play that Sally Bowles so perfectly. I love the Bob Fosse style of dance. So yeah, I love everything about it. But I love the non-musical side of it, almost as much as I love the musical numbers, because I think it's a really good film, apart from the music as well.
What are some of the kind of most famous songs from it? I might have heard them before.
So, Life is a Cabaret, Old Chum is probably, the most famous. And Money, The song that goes
I
money,
don't know
money,
that
money,
song.
money, 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 money. I'm sure you would recognise some of the songs
Maybe.
from Cabaret.
Maybe.
Life is a Cabaret, I think you would definitely recognize.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't like do justice to any of the songs now. I'm afraid I can't burst into song and like fully convey what the songs are like. But I do.
I did consider kind of us trying to do this whole episode in song, but I thought against it. Just a bit.
Yeah, if I were to do that, it would be a very offensive impression. I don't know if I'm prepared to do that to her today.
So I mean, I think this is the same thing as kind of our rom-com episode for you, where you regularly show up my knowledge of musicals or whatever just by having these films I've never seen before, and I always come away from these episodes with about 50 new songs to watch or new films to watch. So it's always nice having you on episodes like this, just to educate me.
Yeah, I can't recommend it highly enough. Cabaret, it is quite long. I mean, lots of musicals are long. Some of my other favourites are things like My Fair Lady and Oliver. And then you look at the runtime, you're like, hang on, it's like nearly 3 hours long. Well, I'm not quite sure why musicals tend to be on the long side, but to me, they're worth it.
Well, I guess because the stage show is invariably at least 3 hours long, if not 3.5, because of the interval and stuff. So it's finding where can they cut the story out and where can they, minimize time. But regularly, like you say, kind of film musicals are regularly very, very long.
Yeah.
Because they've got, these extended set pieces in like say an action film. A shootout doesn't last as long as a musical number might last in a musical. So that's why they always kind of add onto the runtime in that way. But yeah, good choices with Chicago. Definitely, I love Chicago. But Cabaret is on my list to watch. Audrey, what picks have you got for your favourite stage adaptations?
Okay, so for stage ones, The Sound of Music has my whole heart because I grew up watching that. I have so many clear memories of like starting to watch it, and it was on one of those VHS tapes that was 2 VHS tapes because it's long as hell.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I would finish the first one, I would take it out of the VCR, I would put it in the VCR rewinder so that it was ready to go the next time I watched it, and then I would put the second tape in, and it was like this whole ritual.
Hold on. A VCR rewinder?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was...
I remember those.
You can, but... Yes, you can,
What?
but then you can't use the VCR to watch the next part. Like, you're wasting time. So we had this little machine. It probably cost like $30. It was like this little cheap thing that you would put the VHS tape in, and then you would hit it down, and it would rewind it like separately. Yeah, we got that like halfway through my childhood, and it was like this huge innovation. But anyway, so Sound of Music, it was huge for me. I also really like Jesus Christ Superstar. My mom was obsessed with that when she was a teenager, and so that sort of was passed on to me. Love that. I'm a big fan of like Damn Yankees. I like these classic like Gwen Verdon musicals. I don't know. Hair, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. I have a lot of favorites, I think.
Is that the one that had, was it Corden and Janet Radcliffe in it recently? The business one.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, my impulsive reaction to James Corden.
I know.
Daniel Radcliffe did a stage production of it probably like 7-8 years ago now.
Okay.
Possibly longer than that. And I think Nick Jonas took that role over at some point.
Yeah. I didn't know that was a film. I thought it was just on stage.
Yeah. It's from the 60s. It has Robert Morse in it, who was in Mad Men.
Okay.
He is one of the two.
I watched this based on Audrey's recommendation.
Burt Cooper.
And it is good.
Yeah, really.
It's 60s office culture in a time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
It's just...
If
really,
you know
I
the
like it.
Ewan McGregor movie Down with Love,
I do.
How to Succeed in Business is like really influential on Down with Love, I would say. I mean, obviously, it's massively influenced by Pillow Talk, but How to Succeed in Business. There's, the aesthetics of it, the colours, the way the office is designed, and the costumes. So good.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
That color palette.
It's amazing.
That's the thing I find with talking about kind of adaptations. I've got an issue personally with how films adapt plays onto screen, and yet I find musical adaptations are always much more interesting to kind of watch and enjoy as a film compared to stage kind of just plays.
I don't think they really have a good handle on how to translate scripts onto stage. Like, they feel very beholden to have it be the exact same words that were in the play, and it's often framed in a very static way where there's not a ton of like camera movement, or at least the ones that are less effective are. There's plenty of really good play adaptations on film, but the ones that like have that very stagey feeling, it's like they just decided they wanted to capture the emotion of the performances, which is great, but it's also it's a visual medium. It's film. Like, you can do other stuff with it.
Definitely. And there's, when you're watching a stage play in the audience, that is a very personal experience compared to watching on film, and you've got to try and convey the same feelings that you just can't on TV compared to watching it in the actual room. So they do need to be a bit creative with it. That's a fair point. But musicals don't have that problem because they can be more wild with it. They can fly a car like in Grease and all that stuff. They can do whatever they want to do. But yeah, good stuff. Nice picks. Eleanor, what are your choices?
Mamma Mia, obviously. Very different to what's been mentioned so far. But I grew up listening to ABBA thanks to my mum, and so I was a big ABBA fan, and I just think both films are great. And I saw film before seeing musical. I saw Mamma Mia on Broadway, and I just think like the Broadway anyway is just very clever how they did the staging, because it's just like on this rotating bit of set that looks like half a Greek building. So I think like then having obviously set in an island in Greece and all those views and stuff, it sort of makes things so much bigger. But yeah, I think that was just so much fun. And I just think it's like, I think that's the thing. I think I really like musicals that like proper get me in the joy, but then likewise Mamma Mia, the sequel, that like had me bawling at the end. So and I think like, because wasn't Hairspray based on a stage show, but then wasn't also the stage show based on a film? Like
the John Waters film, I'm not sure if that came first.
I think it did.
Yeah, and then Hairspray, obviously the more recent one.
The like John Travolta 2007-ish job. Yeah, because I really enjoyed that, because again, it's sort of like the songs are super catchy, and I just think like kind of I went into the like seeing that blind. I didn't really know the story or anything, so having it sort of set in the 60s, and there's like obviously the like racial and sort of gender aspects to it and stuff as well. It was like quite a bit of a surprise for me in a way to see that, because I've never sort of seen like a musical like maybe tackle those things, and while it sort of has like a kind of more light-hearted take on it most of the time, like Queen Latifah has that big song, I can't think of the name of it now, but when they're all marching, and it's such a sort of powerful song. And but yeah, I think those are the two sort of stage adaptations I really enjoy.
I think Hairspray was going to be my pick. It's like one of my favourites. No, it's right. No, I'm going to just kind of support your point, because I think Hairspray is amazing, and I think the cast they got for it was so good.
Yeah.
They had, Zac Efron when he was absolutely at the top of his High School Musical fame at that time, and John Travolta was very good as Tracy Turnblad. Wait, was it? Is he Tracy, or was he?
He's the mother. Yeah.
Tracy's the daughter, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that whole film has got amazing songs in it. Edna Turnblad, thank you. Yeah. And you've got like Run and Tell That.
Christopher Walken's in it, for goodness sake.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Michelle
in a relationship with John Travolta.
And Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, it is really well cast, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's a great film, and I think that was one of those ones that I think this is kind of a crime. I shouldn't say it's on the radio waves, but back in Turkey years ago, there was always kind of these people that sold bootleg DVDs on like the side of the road, and you could get like 5 for a $5, and one of them was Hairspray, and it was a guy who had clearly filmed the cinema screen from his like chair, and that people walk in front of the camera all the time. But my first thought of seeing Hairspray was watching on this bootleg DVD, and I still loved it. This is the best thing ever. I've kind of stolen this whole copy of it, so I've bought it on DVD since. But it's just like I've got kind of nostalgic memories of watching Hairspray at like in ridiculously hot hotel rooms on a bootleg DVD. It's just very funny. But no, Hairspray is a great pick. I love that one. Have any of you, by the way, seen both the film and the stage play of any of your choices?
Yeah, I have.
I've seen Hairspray in both forms. Trying to think of what else. How to Succeed, I've seen in both forms. Hair, I've seen in both forms.
Oh, I've seen Cabaret on stage. I saw it at Studio 54 in New York, and Brooke Shields was playing Sally Bowles. That was a really amazing experience. I've seen Guys and Dolls on stage with Ewan McGregor, and that's obviously based on the 50s film with Marlon Brando and Frank Sinatra, which I do really love, the film version of that. I forgot to mention A Little Shop of Horrors, which is one of my favorite stage adaptations. So I love the film with Rick Moranis. I love that film so much. But I've seen that on stage. I've seen several versions of that on stage. Most recently, I saw it with MJ Rodriguez from Pose. I don't know if anyone watches the TV show Pose, but she was playing Audrey. So yeah. I've seen lots like on stage and and in film as well.
Well, I was going to ask, as my kind of follow-on question, are any of the films better versions of the stage show, or is the stage show always the best version of it?
I mean, often they get bigger stars, don't they, for the film? So I think it's slightly unfair. Like if you've seen like an amateur production of a stage musical, for example, it's probably not going to compare.
Like me seeing my production of Cabaret.
It's probably not.
Or my dad's school's version of Jesus Christ Superstar. I've seen that. Yeah.
It's not going to compare to seeing some huge star in a film version, is it? But it depends, because a lot of them now the stage adaptation is like from the film. So for example, Moulin Rouge has done that. That's become like a stage musical. So I think that can affect it as well. So if it was originally designed to be a stage play, or if it's being adapted since there's been a film, that can be interesting.
That's fair, because I've seen a few. Like I've seen Les Mis many times actually in London.
Yeah,
and I find
that one is definitely better on stage. if we're gonna talk about the blimmin' Russell Crowe movie,
Hugh Jackman version.
Yeah. Oh my god!
I was gonna say I liked it.
It's awful, Reese. It's so bad. Oh.
I liked it. It's become like a meme, like with my friends, especially Russell Crowe's kind of singing. But I really like it. I think it's a good adaptation. And having seen it so many times, I think
Eddie Redmayne's
watching it on film. Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Your most hated person, Fee.
The Lena. We love the Lena.
We love a good lean.
He
has the range to sing Empty Chairs and Empty Tables. Come on, Fee.
Yeah.
That film is
I'm kidding,
terrible.
he doesn't.
You're not going to persuade me otherwise.
It's so good. Like the first, I love. The opening scene is like amazing with the "Look Down" song is incredible. You've got Anne Hathaway being excellent. You've got Hugh Jackman. He's all great all the way through. I love Amanda Seyfried. I love what's the name that sings who's Eponine?
Samantha something.
What's her name?
Samantha something, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Morton.
No. Samantha Barker or something like that. I can picture her.
So can I.
I'm just gonna say, maybe controversial opinion, but if you don't have a professionally trained vocal cast, don't make them sing live on set. I think it would have been so much better. Like Anne Hathaway's song is good in the immediacy of it because it's live, but everyone else suffers for the fact that they're being asked to sing live and act and do all this other stuff at the same time.
Nearly every single one of them is terrible.
There are some that would be maybe not great still, but they would be better if they were able to just record that audio and focus on other things while they're actually filming. So that's just my hot take that's obviously lukewarm at this point.
I liked it. I'm just going to keep saying it.
I've only seen it for
really
once. But I think well, I was surprised how long it was, which I shouldn't have been because it was like Les Mis, but I wasn't
Oh,
very
it's a
like.
very, very long film.
But yeah, I think I liked it when I saw it, but I think that was in the cinema however many years ago, so not seen it
Yeah.
since.
Whereas I've seen a few films kind of adapted from the stage. Like I've seen Mamma Mia 2. I watched that also in London. You know, being a drama student at school is very helpful to go and see all these things. And I found the the Mamma Mia stage show much better than the film. Although I'm a big fan of Mamma Mia 2. I think Mamma Mia 2 is actually a very good sequel. I know that's not based on any
I can't
stage
stand
shows,
either of them, sorry.
You've not seen either?
No, I said I can't stand either of them.
Oh, okay, fair. Okay.
You do not appreciate joy.
I do remember seeing Mamma Mia 2, especially. I watched it in the cinema when I think that first weekend it came out. And I was sat next to an old woman who was probably 60 plus. And she was singing every word of the ABBA song. I was like, fair play, man. Just go for it. Have a great time. And I really enjoyed it. I just have a soft spot for musical, clearly. But fair play. Yeah, I think it's, you know, you've got to make your choice whether you prefer the film or the stage show. And I think obviously being on stage in like Broadway or West End, like the official versions, they are obviously very, very good. But I think having the film versions like the Les Mis version, which I really enjoy, it's nice to have that to kind of fall back on to watch. Which obviously is one of the kind of the annoying things about musicals is that frequently you can only watch it once. Once you've seen it, it costs £50 to watch it. You can't watch it again and again and again. You know, compared to things like Hamilton, which you can now watch all the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, having it as a film version that's also very good, like Hairspray, is a very nice kind of treat to have to kind of go back to one of your favourite things.
I think once a movie has stepped into, like, iconic territory, like The Sound of Music, you know, Julie Andrews, and The King and I with Yul Brynner, like, once those roles become that iconic, then I think most people will end up preferring the I didn't say Fiddler on the Roof. Oh my god, I'm a monster. I love Fiddler on the Roof. I just realized I didn't say that. Oh, that bothered me. I'm sorry.
What makes that film
Fiddler
so good? Why do you love Fiddler on the Roof?
Oh, it's just beautiful. I love the violin. I love like the epic family dynamics, and it's beautiful. And I love that they hired Norman Jewison to direct it because they're like, oh, his last name is Jewison. He can handle it. And he was like, I'm not Jewish. And they're like, no, it's still fine.
Oh my god. Fair play. I mean, I didn't know that. That's really funny.
He also did Jesus Christ Superstar, so his bases are covered. He's fine.
He's covered all the religions he could have possibly covered. That's it, yeah. My other kind of pick that wasn't mentioned yet is I've seen both. And I saw the stage play first, but I do love the producers as well. From, I think, is it Mel Brooks that did it? The producers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Wasn't there been a few adaptations?
The 60s movie.
There's been the Nathan Lane one, hasn't there?
I'm talking about the 2005 with Nathan Lane, because I saw it on stage with Lee Evans as the kind of the thinner kind of the producers, and he was incredible in it.
Leopold Bloom.
Yeah, Leo Bloom, thank you. But I think the producers is great, and it's a very funny story, and it's, you know, watching it on film when the actual stage play that they produce comes out, and it's like so kind of horribly racist and just grim. It's just so funny, and it's so well done, and it's again one of those things that it does maintain that kind of stagey quality where, you know, they've got the very clearly defined sets of the office and the stage and the roof with the pigeon person is and all that kind of stuff, but it still makes it quite epic, and it does make it feel like a very well-made stage show. But yeah, I do love I think Nathan Lane is hilarious. I think he's brilliant. But I do love the producers.
The first thing I'd seen him in as a person, and I remember watching it with my friend, and I was like, I know that voice. And then I was like, had to Google, I was like it's Timon from Lion King.
Yeah, man.
I was just like, oh my god. So
he's also in. Is he in Mouse Hunt?
I think he is, and I think
so.
that's one of those films I never really watched as a kid. But yeah, and I was just like, that voice, I know that voice. But yeah, he's great fun in the producers.
He is really good fun in the producers. It's a really funny film, and also you've got Uma Thurman too as their leading lady. She's also very funny. But no, I love the producers. I think it's wicked. So there's my kind of choice for my favourite stage adaptations. But I think more interestingly, you've got the original musical field that have more interesting choices with them, because I've included films that are not strictly musicals in that they don't sing their feelings. They are just films about music. in creating bands and all stuff like that. So films like, I would include School of Rock as a really good musical. I would include Sing Street as a musical, because they are a bit more creative. And also, I know, Audrey, you mentioned one earlier that I'm excited for you to talk about. So I want to go to you first, actually, Audrey. Do you have any favourite original film musicals? And I hope you mentioned the one I'm thinking of.
Yes. I think I know what one you're talking about, so I'm happy to talk about that too. There's so many good ones. I love Singing in the Rain. Obviously, it's like top 5 movie of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Equally good maybe is Grease 2.
Yeah.
But I do love Grease 2. I'm not going to say it's on par with Singing in the Rain, but I think Grease 2
I'm
gets
going
a
to
bad
wax
rap.
lyrical about Grease 2, so.
Grease 2 is really
Okay.
good. I really like Grease 2.
I've not seen it.
It's so much fun.
I watched that as part of the JumpCut charity initiative a few years ago. My friend told me to watch it, and I really enjoy it, and I still think that Reproduction is one of the best film songs ever written. I think it's so funny.
It's hilarious.
It's great.
So good. So those are definitely included in my list. I also really like, I'm trying to look through my list. Oh, Velvet Goldmine. I think that counts as a musical. And one of my all-time favorites, which kind of, like you were saying, blurs the lines, is That Thing You Do, which is Tom Hanks' film.
Great film.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's, a little band in the 60s. It's like a one-hit wonder, and they just have a lot of really catchy songs, including That Thing You Do, which is their hit song. And it's just like a hug in the form of a film to me.
It is really good, and that is a film that is incredibly risky, because if that one song isn't good, then the whole film will crumble.
That one song that they play 25 times during the film.
Exactly. That film has to be good and has to be able to survive being played 25 times, and it does, and it's such a banger. Like, I love that song. It's so good.
The pressure to put on this writer to be like, hey, I need you to write a song that's going to compete with the Beatles, that like is going to be conceivably good enough to be on the Ed Sullivan Show, and and that people aren't going to get tired of hearing. That's crazy. Newsies. I love Newsies.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Is Christian Bale a great singer? I don't know. Not for me to say, but it's a fun musical. So there you go.
Loads of choices. You didn't mention the one, actually. I thought you were going to mention...
I thought That Thing You Do was the... Oh my god, Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
I was in my That Thing You Do headspace. Anna and the Apocalypse is incredible.
It's
if you
amazing.
haven't seen it, it is the #1 Christmas zombie horror musical I've ever seen.
Yeah, me too.
I will put my professional reputation on the line to say that.
Before we recorded today, I put on Turn My Life Around, because that is... I still potentially think it's the best musical song of all time. Is when she's gonna dance into the streets and all the zombies are coming alive behind her. It's just the best song ever, and it's also really catchy and fun and sweet and nice, and I love it. That film is incredible.
What about the penguin one? The penguin song. I like big fish, mother flipper. So good.
It is wicked. Fee, I think you told me to watch Apocalypse years ago.
I
when it came out.
I do really like it. Yeah, it's very good. I love films that, the fact that it is trying to do so much, the fact that it is a horror, zombie, Christmas, high school musical, the fact that it's taking on, all of those elements, but it does it, and it's Scottish, it's like, and does it all really well. Yeah, I like it a lot.
And there's some genuine kind of surprise, heartfelt moments that I didn't expect, people to die as, surprisingly they did. I know it's a zombie film, but there were lots of kind of surprising deaths in it that I didn't expect, to be so affected by. Yeah. And it's so well done.
And yeah, that's a good point, is that it also makes me cry, that film.
Yeah.
It's like, it is kind of like a comedy, horror kind of thing, but also is quite emotional at points. Oh.
Yeah. It's wicked. I think that's probably the most kind of niche film that we've kind of mentioned so far. And if you've not seen it yet,
I've got some niche ones for you later. Don't worry.
I knew you would. But yeah, Anna and the Apocalypse was our first kind of, well, mine and Audrey's anyway, proper recommendation of the episode. Just to go and watch that if you can find it. Eleanor, do you have any kind of original musical favourites?
Yeah, like one of my favourites, and I know it's not like, it's kind of not. Well, some people love it. Actually, a lot of people love it, but then it's also equally hated because it's a terrible true story. The Greatest Showman.
Okay.
Because I know
Okay.
Barlow was a terrible person in real life, and
Yeah.
like, but you cannot deny that those songs are as catchy as hell. And,
Hmm.
and I don't know, and like just Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron and Zendaya, and everyone's just looking all gorgeous and like falling in love and like wearing top hats, and it's just I don't know, I just like I think that had been like the first sort of like original musical I'd sort of seen, especially in the cinema for a long time, and to be
Hmm.
sucked into it pretty much straight away. And I suppose it's quite a sort of static musical in a way because everything does stop for like the song numbers, and there's only
Hmm.
like I think it's only the other side which is sort of like a proper like narrative song in with Zac
Yeah, yeah.
Efron and Hugh Jackman actually like cutting a deal. The rest of them is more kind of a romance song or
That's a good point.
feeling song and not really kind of a
Mm.
narrative song. But I
Hmm.
do love that film a lot, and I do have the songs on shuffle frequently. But I think besides from that, I think um, Sunshine on Leith was a pleasant surprise
Yay.
considering I didn't really know many um, songs from the Proclaimers, but I thought that was quite good. Um, and then like I'm a big fan of a lot of Disney Channel original movies musicals, but I
Yeah.
think and I think one of the ones that kind of blurred the lines you talk about like with bands and stuff is one called Lemonade Mouth, which Lemonade
Mm.
Mouth is the name of the band, so all the songs are ones they play and stuff, and they are it's just really good, and it's got Naomi Scott in it, and um, it's just a lot of fun. It's all sort of these misfits coming together and forming a band, and I think yeah, those songs in that film are one of the best sort of songs from a Disney original movie. Um, so
I
yeah,
hadn't
and
heard of that one.
I rewatched it recently. I was like, these songs are pretty good. And then yeah, and I think the other one I'd mention is Spike Lee's Chirac because it's kind of
Hmm.
like again I went into it not even really knowing it's kind of a musical um because it was a Spike Lee film and I thought oh well I was catching up on his like filmography and yeah the fact that it's sort of like a rap musical where everyone's talking lyrically and it's sort of quite clever and the things it sort of talks about and the way it shows things and it like it does break like a lot of it is very sort of in the real world of Chicago, as it were. But then you've got Samuel L. Jackson wandering around and talking to the camera, and like this sort of big epic showdown, which is two people in bed, like in the middle of the stadium type thing. And it's sort of
Mm.
so sort of odd but great at the same time.
And based on a Greek myth too.
Yeah,
Uh, that one had been on my watch list for so long, for years, and then I watched it a couple of nights ago because Eleanor recommended it, and I absolutely loved it. So I
Mm.
second that recommendation. It's really, really
I've
good.
not seen that one. I've not seen that. But it does sound good though. I mean, Spike Lee. You can't go wrong with Spike Lee, can you? But then I'm surprised that I didn't. Hamilton was not the first rap musical. Clearly, well, shocking. Before we come to Fee's kind of OG niche choices, I'm going to throw out one of my favorites, which barely is one, but I think it does count as one. Is Team America? It's one of the best musicals of all time.
No, that's a good point. Everyone has
It's,
AIDS.
everyone has AIDS. You've got I'm So Lonely. You've got Pearl Harbor Sucks and I Miss You. You've
That's
got
that's
Team
a
America. Fuck yeah.
that's a very good point. I think
It's
that's a very good choice.
Thanks. It's one of those things where I love obviously Matt Stone and Trey Parker. They're very musically inclined. Like South Park, Big Long Road Cat
Yeah,
was a musical. You've got Team America. They did Book of Mormon, which I hope is a film at some point because I absolutely adore Book of Mormon.
yeah.
And Team America is very funny, and it's one of those things where writing a song that is also genuinely laugh out loud funny is very difficult to do. And they nail it with Team America, and I think that is a nice left field pick for favorite musical personally. Yeah, thanks, Pete, for approving that one. But I think you've been waiting for this moment, haven't you, to give me some random picks from
Okay.
the year 1930. Here we go.
um, So a couple that are book adaptations, so they're not based on stage musicals, they're based on novels.
Hmm.
One is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the
Yep.
70s one with Gene Wilder.
Hmm.
And another one is The Commitments, which is an Irish
Yes.
musical from the 80s, which uses blues songs. And it's absolutely brilliant.
I've seen that. It's really good.
I love the versions of the blues songs that are in it. I think the voices are incredible. Like
Mm.
they have real discoveries in it. The people they chose to obviously play the parts, but to sing the songs are absolutely amazing. And I really, really love The Commitments. I
Is
love
that Mustang Sally, by the way?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I love the book. I love Roger Doyle as an author, and I love Irish humour. So it has like a lot of elements that I really love. That one. Um, we haven't really talked about it in any detail. So the High School Musical trilogy, I have to I
Yes.
have to talk
Oh, yeah.
about because I know we've briefly mentioned it here and there, but I mean it's a masterpiece. What can I tell you? My personal favourite is two. We're probably going to get into an argument now about which one's the best
Yeah.
one.
Oh
So
no, I agree with two.
It's
Yeah,
not two.
my favourite one is High School Musical 2. I think that I know it's not set in the school, it's set in like this kind of golf resort, but you've got like
Hmm.
numbers in the swimming pool. You've got it's the one with Bet on it, the greatest musical sequence ever committed to film by any human being ever. It's also got the baseball game, I Don't Dance.
Yeah, classic.
So like to me, High School Musical 2 is just the pinnacle because some of the sequences in that one are just amazing. But
But then,
the whole trilogy is so good. So it is very
to
hard to
combat
choose.
that, though, High School Musical 1 has got, obviously, Breaking Free is obviously the iconic one. You've got Bop to the Top, an absolute banger. You've got Six the Status Quo, Get Your Head in the Game.
One is my least favorite actually. I thought you were going to make the case
What?
for 3.
No, it's all one. All about one.
I agree with Reese here.
Thank you.
I don't really have a dog in this fight, but I do need to say justice for Ryan and Sharpay.
Yeah.
Gabrielle and Troy have no business being in a High School Musical. Like, oh, I did karaoke on vacation once. No, I'm gonna like, I don't know. If we're talking about like them auditioning for their High School Musical, how do you look at Ryan and Sharpay and be like, no, they're not going to be our leads? That's just I was in high school when High School Musical came out. I was working at Claire's
Me
when
too,
High School
yeah.
Musical came out. It was a big thing.
I do remember kind of going into I think I was at sixth form at the time, or maybe year 11, and coming into school, we'd all watched it that weekend, and it was like the event of the weekend, and we'd all watched it, and it was one of those things where even, you know, all the quote unquote jocks of the school, they were like, oh yeah, but High School Musical was sick. I was like, yeah, man, it was class. It was really good. And that was one of the rare times when the whole of the UK was united watching this one thing on Digichannel that weekend. I loved it. It was a great time. So Eleanor, you were on fee side with High School Musical 2.
Yeah. I think the third one I've only seen the once, so that doesn't really register in my brain much. But I think so. I'm not even really including that. But between 1 and 2, 2 is like my favourite and the best. I just think, I don't know. I think it's sort of, again, like the character dynamics are really cool. Like I just like how Ryan becomes part of like Chad and Gabriella
Yeah.
and becomes friends, and how Troy is jealous over Gabriella and Ryan, even though Ryan is the most gay character I think I've ever seen. Just like Zac Efron, get a clue. And but yeah, and Gotta Go My Own Way. That's like a great
Yes,
breakup song.
that song is so good. I love
That
that
is
song.
such a brilliant song. And
What about us?
what about everything we do?
Oh, duet. Yeah.
But
Oh.
yeah, and I just think it's Kenny Ortega directed those, and I think he
did.
just understood like the assignment so well. And then
Mm.
just to throw in a couple of other Disney Channel originals, the Descendants trilogy, he also directed them, and they are great fun, and they're all sort of like the descendants of like the kids from Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, Jafar, and like the Evil Queen from
Mhm.
Snow White, and it's all sort of like the kids from Disney characters, and they can go to like the preppy school where all the good descendants are, like the son of Bel and the Beast and stuff, and it's just sort of so much fun, and all the songs in that trilogy are great as well. And yeah, I think he just kind of gets those sort of teen musicals really well.
So my friends watched those recently as well, and I didn't realize they were musicals. I thought they were just, a Disney Channel film. Oh wow, I didn't know they were musicals.
Yeah,
Cool.
there's a lot of great songs in that as well that I now have on my phone that I listen, that also come up in shuffle quite regularly.
That might be my Disney Plus watch. Yes, Audrey.
Can I tell you something that bothers me about Disney musicals?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That the people are never, like, they're not allowed to kiss anymore. They do this thing where they, like, lean in like they're about to kiss, and then, like, the girl turns to the camera and just, like, smiles or something. And
well, there's fireworks.
Like, if they do, they have like a peck or something, but they're not allowed to just, like,
Smooch.
kiss. Just kiss. It's a musical. You can kiss.
Is this a COVID-19 like protocol, or is this before that?
No, this is like Disney purity standards of, like, oh, we can't show 16-year-olds. Like, it's very
I think, yeah, because I think that's even
production
like,
code
true
stuff
for the High School Musical ones. So, like, Troy and Gabriella definitely didn't kiss on the first two. I don't know if they eventually did in the third one, but, like, I remember on the second one,
they're not allowed to show
that
it,
is
and
a
it's
good
like they're
point.
high schoolers, like they're gonna kiss,
yeah, because
or they're allowed to kiss. They're 16.
Like, in the second one,
They're
they're
not
all
showing
on
full
the,
frontal
like,
nudity.
golf course and putting those lanterns in the air, and they're all clearly paired up, but no one kisses each other.
This is a revelation. How have I not realised that before?
It's like, if you're not going to show them kissing, then don't put them in the situation where it looks like they're about to kiss, because you're just calling attention to the fact that you're not letting it happen. Like,
or does it happen? It just happens kind of like they lean in and then the camera pans up or something.
Yeah.
No, something
I don't even think
happens
it's
and they get
that.
distracted.
Yeah.
Whoa.
They get interrupted.
it's like Hayes production code stuff,
This
where
is insane.
like worse than that, but like it's I hate it. It drives me crazy.
I did not realise that. That's a revelation and a half. That is. Wow. I can't. They do kiss by number 3, don't they? Troy and Gabriella, I mean.
They
I
might
think-
do
Sure
in
they do.
3.
I think they're doing 3, but even that I'm not 100% sure on, to be honest.
I'm googling it right
Like,
now.
they can't-
When
they
does Troy and
might-
Gabriella kiss?
They might slightly smush faces, but not like a kiss, not a kiss per se.
Hold on.
Wow. Well, or just googling that.
Yeah.
Fee, I think you had a few more.
Yes, I have.
give us.
Just not too many, don't worry. So,
Don't worry, no.
some childhood favourites of mine were Bugsy Malone, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and
Yes.
Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. So Chitty Chitty Bang Bang has the most bizarre like names involved with it. So it's got Roald Dahl, Ian Fleming. Are both involved with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is one of those like facts you can tell in the pub. And also it's got one of the scariest villains of all time, the child catcher.
Yeah.
Bed Knobs and Broomsticks I prefer to Mary Poppins. It's a similar style, but it's got these animated sequences and it's got great songs. I love Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. And
Does she turn
Bugsy
into a rabbit?
Malone. Bugsy Malone I rewatched very recently, and it doesn't hold up great. I'll admit that perhaps nostalgia is a bigger factor with that one, but I just grew up with it. I rewatched it so many times when I was a kid, and it is one of those ones that's really, really fun to do like a school production of. I've been, involved with school productions of that one, and I just think I love the whole concept of, kids playing gangsters, the fact that they're using like custard pies instead of bullets, that kind of thing. I just think, it's a really inventive musical. My very, very, very kind of niche suggestion, which is totally left field, hardly anyone's heard of it, even less people have seen it. It's a film called London Road. Olivia Colman and Tom Hardy are in it.
What?
Yes, and it is a film musical. And when I explain what the concept is, you'll probably think I'm mad. It's based on a true story about prostitute murders in Swindon, I think it is. And what it is that it's kind of features real interviews and kind of news footage and reporting that they did based around this real life murder case. And then they turned it into a play with songs, but almost the entire thing is sung. So there's like a scene on a bus that I can remember really vividly on the top deck of a double-decker bus, where there's all these women in like pink hoodies and they're singing. There's kind of like a lot of people like singing directly to camera, and it just works. It sounds like the weirdest thing you've ever heard of, I know. But believe me when I say that the film is brilliant. It involves singing all the way through, and it is based on this real life murder case, but it's about the community and how the community is affected. And it's about how kind of like rumors spread and people suspect, certain members of the community. And it does, parts of it really remind me of Les Mis, because there's like a courtroom scene where like a crowd kind of gathers at the steps of this courtroom and start to demand things. And that bit really reminds me of the storming of the barricades in Les Mis. And I just...
Can Tom Hardy sing, by the way?
Tom Hardy, to be fair, is only a very small role in it. He's a cab driver in like one scene, and he does kind of like mumble sing for a little bit. So he's not really a main character. But yeah, women are kind of like the main parts.
Right.
But it's it's really, really good. Try and find it if you can.
Not kind of inspired, but based on like Jack the Ripper or something, is it? Sounds a bit similar.
It's based on a true story. So these murders really did happen in sort of early 2010s, I think, possibly 2000s. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's not even that long ago. I think the film came out in maybe 2012, something like that. And the case happened in the late 2000s, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not even that long ago.
2015 it came out.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've never heard of this before.
I know. It's one of those things that like hardly anyone's heard of, but it's
based on a musical. It's based on a stage.
Yeah, it's based on a stage play. So they actually did it on stage first.
Wow. That's so interesting. Any news, Audrey, on the Disney Channel kissing fiasco?
Okay. So I don't think it's like a codified rule directly from the mouse. I think it's more of just a convention where on Disney Channel original movies and the musicals they rarely kiss. Troy and Gabriella did kiss at the very end of the second High School Musical movie, and it was like the whole movie they'd been interrupted right before they were about to kiss, and then they finally got to kiss at the end. They had to wait 2 movies and were dating for like months and months and months before they could kiss. So, anyway, that's what I have. But I haven't found any official rules from Disney. So.
Still, that is a shocking relation that the 2 main characters didn't kiss until after 3 hours.
If you watch Descendants, I think. Well, I'm not going to give away who the couple is, but there is a couple in it, and it's like at the end, all signs point to them kissing, and then they don't, and it's weird.
Yeah, no, I definitely think, they don't. I don't think they kiss at all, actually. I think there's maybe one, like a different couple that kiss, but it's more like waking them up from a sleeping spell type kiss. So not even,
of course.
Yeah. Of course.
Mad. So like a creepy kiss, which is okay with Disney.
That's mad. I think the last one we've not really touched upon that I personally love is probably Mary Poppins. That is one of my favourites when I was a kid. Watching it growing up, and obviously all the different kind of the live action stuff and versus the animated stuff, and then you go back, and then my favourite song in the whole film is Step in Time, because I went through a phase as a kid when I loved tap dancing. Like, I used to watch Lord of the Dance, Michael Flatley, like, probably every day on VHS. Like, my mum would attest this, that I was stood in front of the TV, like, tapping along. I can't tap dance, by the way. I was just flailing my legs about in a random order to Lord of the Dance. But Step in Time was that was my jam for years. And Dick Van Dyke is amazing in that film, and Julie Andrews incredible, and just the whole family, and just Oh, I love it. I just love Mary Poppins. It's so good.
What did we think of the remake, if that's what we're going to call it, or
Mary Poppins Returns?
Yeah, the new one.
I really liked it, actually. I did really enjoy it. It was obviously, I love Emily Blunt anyway, but I think she was a very, very good kind of homage to Mary Poppins, and she was a very good interpretation of the character, because they were different characters, I think, Mary Poppins in the first compared to the Returns sequel. And the songs, they obviously weren't as memorable as in the original, but there was that one sequence that was clearly the Step in Time version.
Oh yeah,
when they
the
were
lamp lighting one.
Yes, that one. Triple Light Fantastic.
Light Fantastic.
Yes,
Yeah.
that song is incredible, and obviously you've got Lin-Manuel having a very dodgy English accent throughout the entire thing.
It's tradition.
I was going to say that continues the tradition, doesn't it?
But no, I actually really enjoyed it, and I was surprised I loved it as much as I did. And I remember seeing it, and I just think this is genuinely fab. Just seeing a really good musical again, and just having that excitement about watching a good musical again was really fun. But yeah, no, I really liked it. Are you a fan, Fee, or no?
I thought it was okay. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was okay.
That's fair. Audrey and Eleanor, thoughts on Mary Poppins Returns?
Yeah, I liked it. I think I got a buzz that Dick Van Dyke made an appearance.
Yeah.
And then, especially because it wasn't until I was much older, even though again it was one I watched as a kid, that I didn't realise that he, in the original, he obviously played the chimney sweep, and then the old guy. I didn't realise it was him and a bunch of makeup. And then I remember when my mum explained it to me, it blew my mind. Yes, I think having him come back was quite cool and stuff, and I think sort of having the daughter of the original girl from Mary Poppins, her grow up and being quite sort of forceful like her mum was quite a nice touch.
Yeah, and you've got lovely Ben Whishaw, very nice as the dad.
Yeah,
very nice.
That's a good point. Yeah, he was good.
He was good. Audrey, have you seen it? Do you enjoy Mary Poppins Returns?
Yeah, it's cute. I like it. I like that showstopper number. The cover is not the book, something like that. I think that one's really fun. It's a very catchy song, and yeah, it was clearly written as a chance for for Lin-Manuel to rap. 5,000,000%, of course. But I think it plays that well.
Yeah,
so.
it does do really well, and it's it's one of those films that it doesn't go into the animated world as much as the first one does, but I think that's for a good reason, because you can't match the magic of the first film, and obviously Supercalifragilistic is just such an iconic song, and the dancing penguins and stuff, and it's just the whole thing in the original is so good that I'm glad they went to the animated world in the sequel, but they didn't kind of overdo it. They did one major number and then went back into the real world quite quickly, which I quite liked.
It's a pretty sad movie.
Yeah, it is sad.
It's pretty melancholy.
Yeah. But it is very good. I do enjoy that one. I think Emily Blunt is wicked in it. I think she's brilliant. So yeah, good pick that. All right, before we finish off today, I know this episode has kind of been inspired by we were requested from one of our patrons, so thank you to Hannah, one of my old friends from university, who requested this episode. And this also does come out at a nice time, because this year, now that we are starting to slowly go back to cinemas, as I'm recording this week, UK cinemas have been back open as of 2 days ago, which is very exciting. So we are starting to get films again, and this year we do have 3, maybe more, but there's definitely 3 kind of major, kind of massive blockbuster musicals coming out. You've got In the Heights, which is the new Lin-Manuel Miranda musical. You've got the Steven Spielberg West Side Story, which I realise there are some behind-the-scenes issues with that film, to do with its kind of lead actor, I suppose. And you've also got this recently kind of announced, the trailer came out for Dear Evan Hansen, which before recording, Fee says is terrible. So which I'm looking forward to seeing the reaction to that one. But of those 3, which one are you most looking forward to seeing, Fee?
Definitely In the Heights. I'm so excited for that. I probably my first return to the cinema in what by then will be 15 months, whatever it will be by then, 15, 16 months, is probably going to be in the Heights. And I fully expect it to just blow my entire head off, to be honest, because of not being to the cinema and all that time, and then to go back with a big musical. I really love Anthony Ramos, who's like the lead in it. I really love him. So I'm so excited for it. I've seen obviously very, very brief kind of overhead shots of some of the musical sequences just from trailer snippets, but I'm so excited for it. So excited.
I hope it's good. I think that has got a lot of hype around it. It's obviously it was delayed by COVID, so it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am also very excited for that one. Audrey, which one are you most excited to see?
Yeah, probably In the Heights. I like West Side Story a lot, but I don't have high expectations for the movie. Although I guess I saw like a clip of it and it kind of made me more like, oh, okay, I'll watch this.
The trailer looked okay, actually.
The trailer looked fine. It was just the still images that were released were very just, the color palette was weird, and they just looked very beigey and kind of muted. And also obviously all of the the stuff. Allegations, we can say. Behind the scenes is not great. And God, I couldn't even finish the Dear Evan Hansen trailer, so I don't know how I would watch the movie. I started watching it and I was like, all right, I think I get this. I don't need to finish it.
Well, I think Ben Platt, obviously, I like Ben Platt. He's very funny in, like Pitch Perfect and stuff. He's a very good actor and a good singer. But he's meant to be playing a teenager, isn't it? And he looks about 45. And I mean, it's not... That's
the thing. He's 27, so he's not that old. Like, there's plenty of people playing high schoolers into their mid-20s, but he's not a young-looking 27, and that's not anything against him. Like, he looks like a perfectly normal 27-year-old man, but he does not look like a teenager.
No, he doesn't.
It's very strange, because other people do look like teenagers in the movie, and... I mean, I just think the fact that his dad produced it, I feel like maybe we could have gone with someone else. Like, I know he originated the role on Broadway, and good for him. He got like 3/4 of an EGOT out of that. So I think, could have been someone else. We could have moved on, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, fair. Eleanor, which one are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, I'd say In the Heights, even though I don't think I've really watched like the full trailer or anything, so it will be kind of a going in blind scenario for me unless I see it beforehand. But I think because it's like I've seen the original West Side Story, which I did enjoy, so like it's going to be the same story, so it's sort of like nothing new, whereas as I say, In the Heights is going to be completely new, and watching the Dear Evan Hansen trailer just threw me for a loop because I don't know why. But because I've never listened to any of the songs, or I knew nothing about the musical besides sort of general like internet osmosis, but for whatever reason I thought Evan Hansen was like a sad gay kid and then it was going to be about him finding love and acceptance type story. So the fact that I watched the trailer and it was very much not that.
No.
I went to see the stage show based on the fact that it had such rave reviews, and I dearly wish I'd looked up what it was about, because I went in completely blind, and the fact that it's a musical about suicide is just not something I was prepared for by any stretch of the imagination. I just, like, in my wildest dreams, I would not have guessed it was about that, and I ended up absolutely hating it. And I really regretted spending money on the ticket, to be honest. So, yeah, I will not be watching the film.
Fair enough. But yeah, that brings us to a nice kind of conclusion that In the Heights is definitely our most anticipated musical that is coming out soon. And that was a very fun kind of talk about musicals and our favourites and all sorts. So hopefully you've had some recommendations from this episode to go and sing along to, and my recommendation is definitely Anna and the Apocalypse. Please watch that. Watch it today. It hasn't got to be Christmas time. Just watch it whenever. It's wicked. But a big thank you to my 3 wonderful guests. Thank you to Fee.
Thank you. You might have just heard my cat chirp. So yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you to Audrey.
Thank you for having me and letting me rant about Disney kisses.
That was a definite highlight of this episode for me as well. That was good fun. And thank you to Eleanor.
Thanks for having me and let me expose my best friend for not watching a Disney film.
Yeah, we called out Jazz as well. We've done a lot today. We've gone through the ringer of different emotions. Thank you very much. I have been Reese, and this has been our latest Patreon exclusive podcast. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.